All right. Well, hopefully we're live. Let me check. Let me do a mic check. Yes. All right. Sounds good. Good enough. Good enough. All right. Let's see. It's very difficult to find people on Discord. No one is picking up. I guess it's morning. No one wants to talk in the morning. Wait, did I share? Yeah, it's shared. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna go search for other Discord servers. Signed up to a bunch. Let's see this one. No, that's Christian. Christian anime. No, and that's I don't know. Next, let's debate. 349 people online. Let's try to join this one. Rules, announcements, general. Join the server. I am a human. Steering wheel. Steering wheel. Steering wheel. Steering wheel. Verify. You must complete. Alright, complete. Rules. I read. And I wanna. Okay, there you go. Wait a minute, who's that? Oh, I guess it's a robot. Please make sure you read the rules. Okay. I guess it's a robot. All right. Does anyone want to debate me? No one wants to debate me. Wait, absolutely. Wait, what was that? Somebody said something? Wait, new mention. Welcome. But someone said something somewhere. I don't know. Wait, on behalf? Oh, that's for me. Welcome to our server. New mention. General. Oh, later, right now, joining. Oh, there is people talking. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, does anybody want to debate something? I have a list of topics.
All right. I was just replying to you because we
Oh,
have a forum to look for opponents,
oh, fantastic. Here's my list of topics.
but we also, dang, there's a lot of messages I missed.
Oh, top G. Wait, that adventurer. You look familiar. Were you on the forum last night or 2 nights ago? Have I seen you before? I don't know. You look familiar. Please add me. I'll talk later. Who top G says please add me to what? I don't have a list. I mean, I need to debate now. Does anybody want?
Oh,
Oh, friend request. Got
by
it.
the way, your number two on your list is the purpose of a debate is to convince your debate partner, not anyone else. I
Mhm.
disagree with that.
So we can debate that.
You're supposed to your debate partner is pretty well usually set in their opinions and ideals, and
Sure.
you're actually trying to convince the audience.
Oh, really?
Oh wow, you're going to have a lot of challenges here. But I don't debate here because I own the server. I don't want to appear as biased. So,
Oh,
oh Christ, number 18.
what do you mean
Holy
number
shit,
18?
man. That one I would definitely argue with you if I debated here because I had two aunts who died of the Spanish flu in 1918 and
Where your
1919.
audio just
So
dropped. Your mic just
I
dropped.
know I just dropped because I got a text.
Oh, okay, okay. So I didn't hear your last
I had
sentence.
I had two aunts. I had two aunts on either side of my uncle, one older and one younger, who died from the Spanish flu. So,
How do you know that?
oh wait, smoking. I saw one on smoking. What the hell was that? That's a good one. Science is, oh boy, you need to get into our forums unless you're like absolutely desiring a debate fix right now. Because in our forums, you could list all of those, and I'm sure you would get hit with a bunch of challenges, bunch
Fantastic.
of them.
Sounds fantastic. Sounds like a really
It
lively.
sounds like people will come out of the woodwork to debate you on many of those topics.
So, I mean, I have like a schedule. By the way, I'm streaming this on YouTube. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, I do mind because here at our server we have a rule that all recordings or streamings we must be notified.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you would have had to do that when you came in.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, do you want me
Well,
to?
here is fair warning.
Oh,
I'm exiting now because of that. Later.
okay. All right. So I'm recording. This is being recorded and streamed on YouTube. Uh, Here's the link to the channel. I hope everybody here, or we can anybody who wants to debate me. Here's the link first of all. Yes.
I didn't consent to being recorded.
So, all right. So anyone who wants to debate me, maybe we can create a separate room and go debate there.
Yes.
Does anybody want to debate me on the list of topics?
I only consented to being recorded by the server staff.
Okay, so I'm going to create your own VC, I guess. All right, let's read some comments. Hey, uncomfortable truth. This is terrible. Until you finally find a lively server, everybody is not consenting to being recorded. Terrible. All right, so let's read some comments. Alex abused me. Ashley betrayed me. Malik is a terrible person, absolutely. I'm just a poop eating slave. Does anyone want to debate me? It looks like no one wants to debate me. 1 second, somebody's making noises. Oh, someone joined my
Hello, yes.
Oh, hello. Do you want to debate?
Sure, I'm looking through the debate topics list.
Yes.
I'll see which one do you want to start with?
I don't care. It's up to you. So, I mean, they're all kind of interesting for me, and I can. These are like things I really believe in, like mostly very much. These are convictions.
Some of these I actually agree with you, but a lot of them I guess we can debate about.
Sure. What do you most disagree with? That's the question.
I would say this I think the Spanish flu one, that one I would disagree with. However, there is the problem with that is you'll have the only way I can prove my side is with analogies and a few like how would you say it? Damn, my English is very bad. There are lots of research topics about it, but most of the stuff that I know would be analogies.
Okay, let's begin.
Of stuff that happened
let's begin
in my family.
Okay, let's begin, and after that, let's see how it goes. So,
Okay.
All right. So I just. So I heard that. I mean, I was listening to a podcast, and they were mentioning that it was aspirin. Aspirin was the new magic drug that was being prescribed to solve everything, and their prescriptions were their normal prescriptions were what we today consider overdoses.
Okay.
So everyone was being overdosed. Everyone was being overdosed everyone who was being prescribed aspirin was being overdosed to lethal level, and many were being prescribed aspirin. And this explains everything, because we know that it was young men of military age who were mostly killed by the Spanish flu, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, you have a healthy person who dies from a Spanish flu, and you have the elderly who don't die from a Spanish flu. We don't, I don't think we have any virus, any mechanism to do this. I mean, a young, healthy male at military age is basically, on average, the strongest specimen we can test in humanity, and then the elderly are the weakest. So it doesn't make any sense that the strongest were dying and the weakest surviving. It doesn't make any sense unless you say, oh, it was the military that prescribed aspirin basically by command, right? There's a chain of command in the military and you cannot question. So if an order is top down, give them aspirin, no one can question it, and boom, you have military aged men dying left and right. And I mean, the aspirin, we know, thins the blood, so their blood was thinning. I mean, that's how it kills you. And their lungs, the autopsies mentioned that their lungs were filled with liquid, which is what you get when you thin the blood. Anyway, everything falls into place. It is the best scientific explanation that I ever heard. Nothing else makes any sense. So
I actually agree with you some part there. Aspirin may have worsened the effects of the virus itself. However, in most cases, for instance, my country, South Africa, 90% of the population was infected by the disease, with a mortality rate of 15%.
how do you know?
However,
How do you know that?
this was documented by the South African government
How do they know?
from
How do they know?
this was influenza. South Africa at that time had some of the best doctors in the southern hemisphere of Africa.
Wait, so how can you? So, I mean, tell me again the stats that you're aware of. What are the statistics? Repeat the statistics.
So 90% of our population
Mhm.
were definitely infected by the disease.
Definitely.
However,
Wait,
only
wait. When you say definitely, what do you mean by definitely? There's no definite. There's no 100%. There's always a margin.
this is the amount that we know of. This is the amount, 90% at least. It could have been more, but we know definitely that 90% at least were infected. Others could have been infected. However, it was limited to as a majority of the population. However, a small minority of the population were never infected because they were separated by large areas of land masses, such as the Drakensberg plateaus and so on.
Okay. So, I mean, okay, I presented my proposition. Do you have any evidence to negate my proposition? I'm saying the simplest thing.
So
Let me just conclude. Let me
okay.
I'll just repeat in one line my conclusion of my proposition is that the best scientific theory I am aware of to explain the Spanish flu is it was aspirin, period. It's the best scientific theory. The other theory that it was a virus that did the job, that did all the killing, that's not as good of a scientific theory. That's what I'm saying. All right, you go ahead.
I agree with you partly. Aspirin definitely worsened the effects by thinning the blood, but the virus already thins the blood. So they just just worsened it by using the so-called miracle cure, this aspirin drug that they were dispersing amongst the population. We're actually just worsening the effects, not aiding. So I agree with you partly,
One sec.
but
Wait,
the
wait.
virus itself.
Wait. Look, we know men of military age were being killed by the virus, but the elderly were not. So it sounds like no young men would have died from the Spanish flu, basically, except for they were prescribed aspirin overdose that killed them. That's the simplest explanation. The virus would not have killed any young men if it barely killed the elderly. That's my
I
point.
can see what you yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, the Spanish flu started in about 1918,
Okay.
and it made the morality was very high amongst the younger population.
Mm-hmm.
Younger than 5 year old and between 20 and 40 were the people that suffered the most, and people 65 and older also suffered a high mortality. The mortality rate, including those between 20 and 40, had a unique feature in the pandemic. So H1N1, they spread much more amongst the soldiers because the virus started during at the end of the First World War, with most of the soldiers returning home to their countries. So what happened is, in countries like South Africa, this will prove part of your stance, but I also suggest that the pandemic itself had a cause for the soldiers dying more than others,
But
because
okay,
the soldiers were the first to be infected.
okay, let me ask
and
you. Let me ask you. Okay, we've had over 100 years since then. Could you explain to me the mechanism, the molecular mechanism by which the Spanish flu killed young men and did not kill the elderly?
Well, so the thing is, the disease spreads through contamination. As it's a type of virus. So it will most likely have started during somewhere during the end of the First World War, and at that point, a lot of the soldiers were malnourished, who were in the trenches, so their immune systems were already being deteriorated. They were receiving large amounts of poison gases that they were breathing in, such as chlorine gas, mustard gas, and so on. They were receiving rotten food to eat. Their clothes so they were living in very poor conditions by the time they were returning home. So their internal body functions were not as it would have been with a healthy young man of military age. They were already very ill. So their immune systems were very compromised. And it was only worsened when they started giving them massive doses of aspirin.
Okay, so do you agree or disagree that? I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if we have a disagreement. I mean, you keep saying, yeah, the aspirin killed them. So I don't know. I mean, where is our disagreement? Where you're saying, yeah, they came back from the war. They were, already weakened by the war. Let's assume I don't know if that's true, because usually you take care of your soldiers more than anything else. Basically, the soldiers are the most important asset you have. So I don't know what you're basing this on. Sounds like that in itself doesn't make any sense. That the soldiers had any issues. I mean, soldiers are, they're taken care of. Everybody knows that you have to, especially during a world war. So that doesn't make any sense. And all we have, the simplest explanation is just it was the aspirin, nothing else. What you are saying now, you have this conjecture or hypothesis. No, it was because they came back from the war and they had many illnesses, or their health was compromised because of the war. I don't see that. Soldiers are healthy. If a soldier is not 100% healthy, he gets sent home or he gets sent from the front line. I mean, at the front line, you have very healthy men. I don't see.
In that case, I can for that I can actually read to you a journal by Johannes Patron,
No, you
who
don't.
was one of the
You don't have
the
to.
French soldiers there at the front line. He describes the in-depth harshness and the low quality of life they were living in.
Okay.
They were waddling in literally manure in the trenches. They couldn't get out, so they had to literally defecate in the trenches. It was raining and the water was spilling that sewage everywhere. It was total
Wait,
chaos.
Could you give me 1 minute? I have to just go turn off a light. Just give me literally 10 seconds. 1 second.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, I'll take your word for it that sure. Okay, but you would agree that it was the aspirin. The aspirin had a significant effect. I mean, we've had wars before and since, and we've never had something like the Spanish flu. I think tens of millions of young men died. We've never had that. And
Yeah, so I think the only part we disagree on
Mhm.
is that I believe that aspirin was partly to blame, and the disease caused a lot of other deaths, such as here in South Africa, the majority of children who died did not receive aspirin at all, and they still died under the age of 12 and so on. They had a mortality rate of about 60%. So, but if you look at the soldiers who were returning, because they had not received aspirin, they were actually getting healthier. Because South African soldiers did not receive the same medication standards as the British soldiers. So the aspirin did definitely weaken their immune system and make them more susceptible for the virus to kill them. I think that's where we disagree.
I mean,
You,
I don't see a disagreement. I mean, what is the disagreement? I mean, we had tens of millions of young men dying all over the world from quote unquote the Spanish influenza. But you would agree that we would not have had this if not for the aspirin overdose. So that's
yes,
my
most
so we
definitely.
completely agree. I don't see the point of continuing this debate. I mean, we completely agree. So done.
Yeah,
Let's
technically.
Yeah, let's pick another topic. Maybe you can see another topic on my page.
Uh,
You can talk as you go through it and react to each one. Tell me what you think about each one.
okay. So, where was I last? Okay, so veganism is suboptimal. Yeah, I agree with that. Uh, Cockfights are preferable to killing newborn male chicks, like roosters. Yeah, I also agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Do you know
Uh,
Do you know anything about black holes and quantum theory or quantum gravity? Do you,
Black holes. Yeah, I did study some physics when I was. I took it as my course throughout high school. So
so do you know how black holes form?
yeah, usually with a star collapsing within itself on itself.
Right, that's one way to form a black hole. Could you explain how it forms?
So it's usually with the death of a star.
Yes.
It the hydrogen that's being produced and so on converts into helium, and so it starts expanding to a point where it becomes. This is in the case of stars that become red giants, and then they can't sustain that mass anymore, and they fall in on themselves, and either become a white dwarf, and
One
in
sec-
some cases,
wait 1 second. What do you mean? They suddenly one day just collapse, or something precedes the collapse?
no, something make sometimes the collapse. Something makes it collapse. Sometimes it just can't handle the immense weight anymore, and it keeps burning. Uh, I have a word for it in my language, but I can't remember what it is in English.
Wait a minute.
I'm struggling to find that word.
A supernova?
Yeah, so in some cases they can become supernovas.
Wait a minute.
Where
Do we know of any way to form a black hole in nature besides a supernova?
I think so.
In nature, how else would a black hole form in nature besides a supernova? I mean, what you're describing, the death of a star that becomes a black hole, as far as I know, they say it has to be a supernova. So,
Yes.
all right, let's assume that, because I don't know of any other way, and you don't know any other way. So, explain to me how a supernova creates a black hole, please, if you can.
Okay. So, damn, let me translate this quickly to English. Wat teruggeven. Zo. De beginnen verdichte aflevering.
Are you looking up something?
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking the English for this. Okay, so it translates as from a supernova, the nuclear fuel turns into dark. Cannot handle the immense gravity anymore, so they pull.
Wait a minute. Okay, hold on.
They can't handle the weight of their sun anymore.
Wait a minute.
It's another language you can probably speak.
Hold on. When you have this, a supernova is an explosion in which the outer layers of the star are ripped away, so the star loses mass. If anything,
yes,
so if anything, the pressure should drop. So why is a black hole forming? Why would a black hole form after the pressure drops? The star just lost a bunch of mass. So it lost its outer layers. Why would it now collapse under its own weight if it didn't until now? That doesn't make any sense, right?
That part I've never read about, so
exactly.
From that part on.
Exactly. So that's why the theory of how black holes form makes no sense. That's the Achilles heel of the explanation. Yeah, that's the weakness of the.
I actually agree with you on that, but I know the scientific explanation somewhat, but I actually agree with you on this.
Exactly. So I'll tell you my theory. This is my theory. I never heard about this from anyone. I've been thinking about this for years. This has bothered me for years, and I think I have at this point a very good solution. Now this also bothered Einstein. Einstein, they say that, general relativity, when you solve it for a black hole, they call it the Schwarzschild solution, if you ever heard of that. I never looked into the math. So they say that a singularity forms at the center of a black hole. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
Right. So I think that's incorrect, and I can prove it. And we don't need even to think about general relativity or the Schwarzschild solution. We don't need to look into any math. We can show how I'm going to be using general relativity, but I don't need to solve equations in order to show how a black hole forms, and there is no singularity. So we don't have the division by zero, therefore we don't need quantum gravity. Are you familiar with quantum gravity?
No, that is when when I started switching to more theological point of research.
I see.
So
Okay.
I never went on from that.
I understand. So, okay, I'll just tell you the story how I think black holes form. So, as you said, so you have a very massive star, and it's at the end of its life. So the core is now iron, and iron cannot be fused as fuel. If you want to fuse iron, you're going to need energy. So that's not going to happen in nature. Anyway, so at this point, the star cools down because it's not heating. There's no internal heat. So the core starts cooling down, and there's no outward pressure holding up the outer layers. So the outer layers collapse. So the entire outer layers of a gigantic star collapse on the iron core. And when they hit the iron core, they bounce out, and you get the supernova explosion, which is as bright as the entire galaxy. So the amount of energy going out from the star during a supernova is absolutely incredible. However, because of Newton's, I really don't remember which law, action equals reaction, that means that there is an equal energy going into the core as was going out from the core. So out from the core, we saw the explosion, which is incredible, very large. But that means an equal amount of energy must now be traveling into the core, which is basically a sound wave. So the outer layers of the star collapsed onto the core, hit the core, and then bounced out. Okay, let's forget about the outer layers bouncing out, but this collapse, it's like a clap when you clap your hands. So imagine all the outer layers all at once collapsing onto the core and clapping. So there's a clap, there's a hand clap of the outer cores, an incredible amount of energy now clapped. And this starts a pressure wave, which is just a sound wave that starts traveling very fast through the iron core all at once towards the center of the star. So you have this incredible amount of energy that we said equal to the explosion of the supernova. It's going to be traveling very fast into the center of the core. So as this pressure wave, as this sound wave travels towards the center of the core, now let's look at general relativity. So general relativity in one of the terms of the equation includes density. Just if you have enough density of matter in itself curves space-time, meaning creates gravity. Just density in itself creates gravity. It's one you have rho in one of the terms in general relativity. I don't know if you're familiar with the equation. I think there's like 3 or 4 terms there. So just pressure, just density curves space-time. Now you have all this density, which is a pressure wave traveling towards the center of the core. As it gets closer and closer to the center of the core, you have an incredible density. And the density rises and rises and rises, and therefore curves space-time more and more and more and more until you get a sphere, like a shell, which is the pressure wave, where basically space-time has curved beyond the speed of light. That's a black hole. At that point, you have a black hole. At that point, the core collapses into this black hole. So a black hole is a shell of pressure that the core collapses into, both from the outside, but also from the inside, because this shell of a pressure wave is empty inside, and the core collapses from the inside onto this shell as well as from the outside onto the shell. There is no singularity. So there's no problem. And now we have a black hole, fully functional black hole. We can discuss how it continues its life, but certainly we started its life. Now it's alive. Now it can start eating and growing, but we don't have a singularity. There is no singularity. So we're done. So, what do you think about this theory? Agree, disagree?
Well, I can't really give my opinion on that because I haven't studied as much in that field, but it sounds like you're making a good point.
Right. Now, Einstein himself, I mean, he spent the rest of his life just trying to figure this out, quantum gravity. But you don't need quantum gravity because there's nothing, there's no division by zero because they said general relativity breaks down because of the division by zero because it's a singular point where all the mass is concentrated. We don't have that. We don't need Schwarzschild. By the way, he was in World War One. I think he died in the trenches. He might have died from an aspirin overdose. I don't know. So so Schwarzschild, he solved the equations of general relativity for black holes. We don't need that. So because he came up with a singularity, he is the reason they keep saying singularity for all these years, and they keep chasing after this phantom of quantum gravity because they say, oh, you need to understand gravity in terms of a tiny tiny spot dot in the universe, but this never happens. You don't need to. Now, inside a black hole, by the way, space-time is stretched to infinity because space-time grows faster than light. So you don't, inside a black hole, you certainly don't have a singularity because space-time stretches because general relativity says that as curvature grows, so curvature grows. I mean, space-time grows. The actual space inside a black hole grows. If you would be inside a black hole, you would see.
Can I ask a
Yes.
question quickly?
Yes.
What do you define as singularity in this
They
whole
say
thing?
they say that the entire mass of the black hole is concentrated at a single point in space, like a one-dimensional point or I don't know how many dimensions. I guess it's zero dimensions. So they have a division by zero problem. So they get infinity. They get infinite force of gravity. And they don't like infinities. So they say general relativity breaks down at the singularity at the center of a black hole. But as I've shown, as I've demonstrated, there is no singularity. There just isn't. There never is. As the core doesn't collapse to begin the black hole. The black hole is created by the energy wave created by the actual supernova explosion. So the energy wave travels into the core and that becomes the black hole. The energy wave, the sound wave, is the black hole, and the core of the star collapses into this shell of curvature of space-time. I mean, it's kind of difficult to imagine, but maybe I hope I'm explaining myself and you can imagine what I'm saying. It's really very simple at the end of the day. I mean, it's very mechanical. You don't need any math. So I think my solution and 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 my solution makes sense, and no other solution that I've ever heard makes any sense. I mean, if you look at if I'll bring up NASA's explanation, they have a poster how a black hole forms. If I look up how a black hole forms, right? So you get this. Well, let me first share the link. Copy link. This is what comes up on Google as the first thing, and then they have this They have a video. Maybe we can watch the video. Let me see. On YouTube. Copy. Let me stop it. I don't know if I can share. I mean, if I share a YouTube video, can we watch it together? Maybe. Oh, I can play it. How can you?
In a snap.
Can I share? Can we share watch this YouTube video? I never actually looked. I never really watched it.
I think you can click the share your
Oh, I
screen
cannot
part and then
I can't because I'm already sharing on StreamYard. Maybe you can share it.
okay, it's site and yes, and the
Yeah,
active.
I'm starting it.
But oh, fantastic. Watch together. Yes. Join activity. Fantastic. Authorize. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Got it. You are hosting, add videos. I don't know what to do now. Got it. Add videos. You are hosting. I don't know what to do. It's not playing anything. It says add videos to the playlist to start watching. Oh, open playlist. Allow everyone. I don't know what
Mr. Slave is the host.
Mr. Slave. Oh, so only I can share?
Only Mr. Slave can
Oh,
edit the
terrible. So I
playlist
guess we can't.
and
So let me just take the poster, 11 inch. I'll take the smallest one. Desktop. I guess I'll put it here. Save. Open. Opening when complete. How big is it? Jesus Christ. Oh, it's finally opening after 1,000 years. Let me do maybe F11 and I've never done print screen. It's a new computer. Where's print screen? Is this it? No. Does anybody know the shortcut for print screen?
no clue.
if in F11, isn't that it?
No, F11 is full screen and not full screen. Maybe I can do. No, there's no save as. No, that's the PDF. Oh, you know what? I'll just take. Let's take the link to the PDF. I'll just post
Windows logo key and print screen.
logo. I don't have print screen on this keyboard. It's a new computer. I just got it. There's no print on my other computer. There was print screen, not on this one. So let me do this. I'll just paste the link to the PDF. Maybe I can open it. Oh, it's on my computer.
Function Windows logo key and spacebar.
Function logo key. Function logo and space. Oh wait, I have an app. It's what's the name of the app? Trim? No, not. Oh, snipping tool. Okay, snipping tool.
Wait, is this
Yeah, I'm gonna
conversation recorded?
I'm gonna do
Oh yeah,
a snipping of this guy. I'll snip snap. Good. All right, this. But let me first do an F11. F11, and then new. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, never mind. F11. Wait a minute. F11 and Yeah. All right. Okay. Here is how they say a black hole forms, and this doesn't make any sense. So they say step one is. Can you see it with me? Yeah, I mean, I
Yes,
guess you can
now.
open it and see it. So they
What
say,
is a black hole?
I guess some of
Space.
you, one of you is
Except
playing it in
way
the
darker.
background. Anyway, it says black holes can form
Some
at the
areas
end
are
of
dark.
some stars'
Nothing is darker
lives.
than a black hole. A black hole is an area
Once
of
all
such
of a
immense
star's
gravity
material
that
is used
nothing,
up,
not
no
even
longer
light,
has the
can
energy to
escape from
support
it.
itself, and it
Black
collapses.
holes form at the
That's
end
not
of
true.
some stars' lives.
There is
The
there is
energy
an
that held the
explosion.
star together
They're not discussing the
disappears, and
explosion.
it
See, they're
collapses in
completely
on itself.
skipping
And
the
it collapses
critical
in
step
on
of the
itself,
supernova.
producing a
It doesn't just
magnificent
collapse. That would be a
explosion.
different story. We could
Here's
discuss
where
the
things get
possibility, but
crazy.
that's not how
All
it
of that
happens in nature,
material
as far as
left
we
over
know.
from the
It
explosion,
could happen
many
Mm.
times
on
the
its
mass of
own,
our
but
sun,
I mean, we
falls
could
into
discuss
an
that. I didn't
infinitely
give
small
that much
point.
thought. We can think together about that, but that's not how
Black holes can
a black
form
hole
in many
forms in
ways,
nature. It
though,
forms
and large
after a
black holes
supernova.
can have
Wait, is
10
somebody playing it in the background?
to millions of times the
'Cause-
mass of our sun.
Sorry,
No, I'm just watching.
Oh, okay, because we can hear it.
Tip
I'll turn up the yeah.
Some black holes
Yeah.
have more
Anyway,
in a
and then it
star.
says all of that
What is a
collapsing
black
matter
hole?
creates a magnificent. So okay. They say the collapse creates a
It's a
magnificent
pretty dark
explosion.
place.
The material
Even
left
though
over after the
some
explosion
areas are
falls
darker
into an
than others.
infinitely small point. Why?
Nothing is darker than a
I mean,
black
during the explosion, the
Black
star
hole
loses
is an
mass.
area of
Why
such
would
immense
the
gravity
leftover suddenly
that nothing,
collapse?
not even light, can
Unless you
escape
say
from
Mm.
it.
no, the
Black holes
explosion
form at the
creates a
end of some
pressure
stars'
wave, and the
lives.
pressure wave, as
The
it
energy that
travels
held the star
towards the
together disappears,
center,
and it collapses in on
overwhelms.
itself,
Oh, you're
producing
playing
a
the video?
magnificent explosion. Here's where things get
Oh, it's
crazy.
Yeah,
playing.
the
Oh, so let me start over.
yeah.
Oh, that's even better. I don't know how
The
that.
way
Uh,
the way
In a
I
snap.
understand
yes. Mm-hmm.
the way I understand a black hole, it's basically a vacuum within a vacuum
I don't understand what you're saying.
in space.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Like the explosion of the sun causes like a vacuum.
I don't understand how an explosion can cause a vacuum. An explosion causes pressure. An explosion is pressure. There is internal pressure that pushes outwards, and therefore there's internal.
Yes, and then it has to revert back to where it was.
I don't
And that
understand.
is a
I
miniature vacuum,
I don't understand.
kind of.
I I don't know what kind of means, and I don't know why you would have a vacuum. You have a star. Let's assume you have the sun. There's no vacuum in the sun. The sun is pressurized. There's, you could say, zero pressure.
Burning gas.
Excuse me?
Burning gas.
But there's no vacuum. The sun, there's no vacuum in the sun. There's vacuum between us and the sun. There's vacuum in the vacuum of space, but there's no vacuum in the sun. The sun has maximum pressure at its center. You could say there is zero pressure at the surface sun, and that pressure rises maybe linearly as you measure deeper and deeper until you get to the center of the sun. So the pressure is maximum at the center of the sun. But
Yes, but I was talking when the sun dies.
but what do you mean dies? Explain die. What do you mean by dies? So we know that when stars die, they die and create a black hole. That death is called a supernova. So during the supernova,
Yes.
right? So during the supernova, you have what happens. I explained it before. I'll explain it again. So what happens during? You know what? Why don't? Okay, I'll explain it, and then we can watch NASA's video. So during the supernova, what happens? So just before that, you have a perfectly legitimate star, but it has finished fusing all the elements. So now it has fused all its fuel into iron. Now, iron can no longer be fused. It's impossible to fuse iron in an exothermic. Fusing iron is not exothermic. It doesn't produce energy. It needs energy. So nature cannot fuse iron. So that's it. The fuel is consumed, and now the star basically cools down. There's no outward pressure. There's no more internal heat. There's no more internal explosions, fusion that heats up the core and therefore sustains the entire star. So the core starts cooling and the outer layers start cooling, and the outer layers of the star collapse. Now, as they collapse down until they hit the iron core. And when they hit the iron core all at once, they smash onto the iron core and bounce out. And as they bounce out, that's the supernova explosion. Now, that incredible supernova explosion is as energetic as right. It's as it emits as much energy or light as much as the entire galaxy. So a supernova is visible over its entire galaxy. So it's an incredible amount of energy that's released instantaneously, basically, very fast. Now, that energy, as it travels outwards, according to Newton's action equals reaction, that means that there is an equal but opposite energy traveling into the center of the core. From the surface of the core now, you have an energy wave equivalent to the supernova energy traveling towards the center of the core. Now, this is basically a pressure wave. It's a shell. You can look at it as a shell of pressure traveling towards the center of the core all at once. Now, as this pressure wave travels towards the center of the core, now let's look at Einstein's general relativity equation. There is a rho, meaning density. So density creates curvature of spacetime. Density creates gravity. So as this pressure wave curves spacetime on its own. As this pressure wave travels towards the center of the star, what you have is greater and greater density, right? That is, you have a pressure wave traveling into the center of the core. As it comes closer and closer towards the center of the core of the star, you have a greater and greater rho. You have greater and greater density. At one point, the density curves spacetime faster than the speed of light. And that's when you get a black hole. That's a black hole. So a black hole is an energy wave, the shape of a shell, that is traveling towards the center of the core, and that's it. Now you already have a black hole. As you now have a black hole, the core now collapses into this black hole. It's not that the core collapses on itself. It doesn't. The core collapses into the pressure wave from the supernova, and the core collapses both from its outside onto this pressure wave and also from the inside, because the pressure wave is a shell. So the internal of the core of the star also collapses outwards towards this shell. Anyway, but there's no singularity. At no point did we have a single point in space. We have a shell. So we don't have the singularity issue. We don't have division by zero. They say that the whole problem of general relativity breaking down at the center of a black hole is because you have division by zero, because all the mass of the star is at the very center of the black hole. We don't have that. That doesn't exist for us. So there is no singularity, so there is no division by zero, so there is no need for quantum gravity. Now, if we are inside the black hole during this collapse, what we witness is the stretching of spacetime to infinity, because spacetime is being curved faster than light. That means spacetime is stretching faster than light. That means, is your channel mainly for sex and porn? No, my channel is not for sex and porn at all. Just the pictures are beautiful women, but there's no sex and porn on my channel. So it's only philosophical debates and physical. I love physics and stuff, and science. I'm a science buff. Anyway, so we don't need quantum gravity. They invented the whole need for quantum gravity. Einstein invented basically the need for quantum gravity because of the singularity, because of the division by zero. But you don't have it. You don't need it. If you just sit and think how a
What
black hole
is
forms.
a black hole?
Okay, you want to watch it? Let's watch it. But let's maybe.
Space that nothing starred together.
Wait,
All of that is
why are you
a
skipping?
point smaller than the tip of a pin.
Let's watch
I'm
it.
not skipping.
Yeah, somebody's skipping. I don't know why. Let's watch it from the beginning. Let me raise the volume.
Space place. In a snap. What is a black hole? Space is a pretty dark place. Even so, some areas are darker than others. Nothing is darker than a black hole. A black hole is an area of such immense gravity that nothing, not even light, can escape from it. Black holes form at the end of some stars' lives. The energy that held the star together disappears and it collapses in on itself, producing a magnificent explosion. Here's where things
Right. The energy that was holding up the star disappears. Right. Suddenly there's no more fuel and the outer layers collapse.
get crazy. All of that material left over from the explosion, many times the mass of our sun, falls into an infinitely small point.
Why? Why would it suddenly fall? You just lost mass, so the pressure actually dropped. So why would it suddenly collapse? The pressure dropped, unless there is the pressure wave that I'm discussing. But they never mention a pressure wave,
Black holes can
which is, by the way, a sound wave. So actually a black hole is formed by sound. It's a sound wave. It's a pressure wave that travels through the iron core. It's a sound wave. It's unbelievable. Sound creates a black
Okay,
hole. Excuse.
before you go on, is this a debate or a discussion?
It's a debate. If you want to debate me on that, if you think I'm wrong, you may explain your point of view. I'm open-minded. But this is quantum gravity. I mean,
No, I'm not qualified enough.
yes, you
Like,
are. Yes, you are. Everyone is qualified.
no, don't. Uh, I'm not talking about qualified as in diplomas or whatever. I'm talking about my knowledge, like what I know about black holes and stuff.
Ask me questions.
I only know what
You may question me.
I only. Okay.
Ask me questions. I mean, I'm open-minded. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm presenting my theory. Because here is NASA's theory. NASA, they're not dummy dum-dums. So some guy, probably a bunch of people with a PhD, created this video. So this is basically, it looks like it's kids' material, but this is what we know. This is what humanity knows how black
Okay.
holes form, but it doesn't make any sense.
I'm going to leave this channel for now because, yeah. Stefan, do you want to join in Staff VC?
No, I don't think I will. I will be able to. I'm right now. I'm going to have like a quick 5-minute debate on the religious channel, on a religious server.
All right. I mean, I just wanted to. I myself only have 2 more minutes. I just maybe wanted to play the video. Maybe we'll get some insight about what they think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. So unless you want to talk about it, Stefan.
Well, I mean, I don't know much about other than what I told you previously. So what they're saying here is basically what I learned at school. I'm mostly in a political and
millions of times
theological field.
I see. Wait, who just played it? Who just clicked play? Did Top G click play? Top G, are you alive? Are you with us?
I
His mic.
think so.
Yeah, but his mic is off. You know what? Okay, we have 1 more minute. Let's just play the video, and I guess we'll say goodbye then.
of times the mass of our sun trapped in a point smaller than the tip of a pin.
Yeah, that's why would that happen? Why would that happen? I don't understand.
Some black holes trap more and more material as their mass increases.
Okay, but that's already
the point where all that
after the black hole is created. So we don't care about that. Once a black hole is created, fine. Everyone agrees it eats up anything, fine. But
mass is trapped is called a singularity.
Right. What about the singularity? Let's hear.
It may be infinitely small, but its influence is enormous.
That doesn't make any sense because we know internally the space-time is being stretched to infinity. So there internally there is no problem of singularity. From the outside, you could say anything you want, but that's the outside observer. Yeah, the outside observer thinks it's infinitely small, but the outside observer knows what's going on inside. The outside observer knows that internally space-time must be being stretched to infinity. So there is no singularity.
Imagine a circle with a singularity in the middle. The gravity on the inside of the circle is so strong that nothing can escape. It sucks in everything, even light. That's why it's black. This circle is known as the event horizon.
Right. What happens, I mean, everyone agrees, is that space-time is being stretched faster than light, so light cannot escape. Light tries to escape, but as it's trying to escape, it's it's like on a treadmill, and the treadmill is running backwards faster than light can travel forwards. Space-time is being stretched faster than the speed of light. So that's why no light can escape. I mean, it's also being stretched to redshift and then ultimately to black shift. So even if it could theoretically come out, it's already black. So you could say only black light comes out because it has been stretched to infinity. So which is incredible, but
Horizon. An event horizon is probably what you are thinking of when you think of a black hole. What would happen?
Right. I don't disagree with them about anything else. I don't disagree about the fact that there is an event horizon. Sure.
And you might wonder, if we took a spacecraft near a black hole's event horizon, the answer? Spaghettification. That's the technical term, at least. As our spacecraft approaches,
That's not true. As you travel into the black hole, you realize that it's infinitely long inside. So you drop to infinity, which means it's like this universe. So that's not true what they just said. Internally, space-time has stretched to infinity. There's no way you could be spaghettified. You actually you don't experience any gravity when you're inside of an event horizon. I mean, as you get closer to the shell, right? Internally, when you fall into a black hole, you fall right after the core collapsed into the black hole, right? Let's say there's a black hole at the center of the Milky Way that's been there for millions of years. If you fall into it right now, as you fall into it, well, time there has stopped. As far as we're concerned, we're the outside observer. Time inside a black hole stopped because of Einstein's general relativity. So time has stopped. So a black hole internally is frozen as far as the outside observer is concerned. So if we fall into a black hole, we fall right after the black hole formed. As we fall in, we get closer and closer to this shell. We fall into the shell. But space-time is as you get closer to the shell, space-time is stretching faster and faster than the speed of light, which means it's basically vacuum, and there is no gravity. So you're just free falling. There's no gravity gradient. There's no curvature gradient. There's nothing to stretch you. So the theory of spaghettification is incorrect. There is no center of a black hole. You just get closer and closer to the shell, and as you get closer, space-time is stretching faster and faster, which just means it's this universe. It's just empty space. You just forever fall, which is what happens if you're just in empty space between the galaxies, between the stars. It's just empty space. There's no force. You don't experience any forces as you get closer to the actual black hole. There's nothing to feel. It's just more and more stretching, faster and faster stretching of space-time. But what is that? What is this? It's basically our universe. So it's a separate universe. So that's when you have to agree. Oh, it's a separate universe. It's just a universe. So if you fall into a black hole, you just fall into a separate universe. This might also be a solution to the Fermi paradox. Anyone who wants to leave this universe just picks a black hole, any size, and just goes there and disappears there. So maybe everyone just wants to, no one wants to stay here. Once they fall into that universe, we could show that universe creates, I mean, it will create big bangs, but it's going to take an infinite amount of time. I don't know how long they're going to survive there. Anyway, we could discuss that later. But anyway, that was my theory about black holes. Let's maybe finish watching the video.
The gravity will be so much stronger on the side closer to the black hole than at the other side that it will get completely stretched out like a piece of spaghetti. Try as you may, you would be hard pressed to find anything weirder or cooler.
Yeah, I don't think there is any spaghettification because space-time is stretched. It's so huge. There's no gradient. You need a gravity gradient. You need a differential between your head and your toes to stretch you apart. But that doesn't exist.
Mm.
There's none of that. Space-time has stretched to infinity. You're infinitely far from the black hole as you get closer to the black hole. So there's no gradient. You're just floating you're just free falling in empty space forever. I just anyway. Right?
Cooler than a black hole. Presented by NASA Space Place.
And that's it. So who wrote? So Alex Kasprak, illustrated, programming, narrate, written and produced by Alex Kasprak. Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised that they have some team doctor, science advisors, Dr. Mark Raymond, Dr. Deborah. I have to assume these guys know what they're talking about. I mean, they're NASA doctors, and that's it. I mean, that's all we know. Ugh, every time I stop at it, let me see here. Project was funded by NASA's Science Mission Directorate under supervision of Ruth Netting. So I don't know who she is. This is NASA Gov. I mean, this is cutting edge science. That's all we got.
For a transcript of this video and a fun downloadable poster,
Yeah.
visit the Space Place.
Anyway, okay.
Space Place.
Ugh.
In a snap.
Anyway, I think we're done. Unless you have questions or comments.
No, I have nothing.
Okay, good enough.
Maybe some of the other guys. I don't know.
I only
I see someone.
top G and say,
I see someone is typing.
oh,
Maybe they want to ask something.
sure. Can I have a
Ah,
rematch?
okay, no.
Nothing to do with us. All right, Stefan. I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
All right, it was a pleasure.
Yeah. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Okay, see you.
See you.
Bye.
All right, that was actually very good. That was very good because I want to get the word out. I really want to get the word out of my Oh, Skinny Juan, can you let me know somehow that it's you and not? Oh, gotcha. Hey, Skinny Juan, what's up? How are you? Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining me, so I don't have to kill myself.
Yeah. I was backstage for a while. I didn't think you were gonna let me on.
No, because when I go through it wasn't a debate, but I wanted to record. Because I want to talk about my theory. I want to get some responses. I'm curious what actual astrophysicists and actual, I guess this also has to do with particle physicists, what they would say about this. By the way, this theory, it evolved since I created this channel. So you can actually watch me evolve this theory because I had a video in the beginning like about black holes, but I didn't know. I was like, I was stuck. I didn't know how a black hole forms, and I said I need to think about it. And then I started thinking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then I came up with this theory, which is incredible. And yeah.
Do you want a rematch?
Wait a minute.
Oh, sorry, not a rematch. Do you want?
Wait, am I still in? Oh, I'm still here. Who's talking to me? Satan? Oh, I never left. I guess I never left. All right, now I left. I don't know how
that was funny. They were eavesdropping on you the whole time.
No, that's okay. I mean, it's on YouTube. So, let's read some comments. So, Uncomfortable says Alex abused me, Ashley betrayed me, Malik is a terrible person. Does anyone want to debate me? Wait a minute, someone is making noise. Yeah, I've debated Synth. I like Synth. I mean, There's nothing special about him. He's just kind of nice. Mm. And he never betrayed me. So basically, he's right now he's the exception to the betrayal. This guy Hannah Anderson tried to tell you this yesterday, but you were adamant in breaking terms of service. Go to the politics server. There are tons of live VC voice chats. See if they agree to be streamed to your channel. What do you mean politics server? Okay, let me go see the politics server. Am I on the politics server? So here is let's debate. This is debate hacks, debates, nameless. Wait a minute. This is nameless. This is my server. This is modern day. This is Carefree Cafe, Echo Chamber, Washington D.C., Vegan World, Moxie, Discord debates, KFC, Vegan Cult. Ask yourself. All right. So he says politics server. Let's look for politics. I don't know, but you know what? Let me again try debate. Here's politics? Maybe political debate. So, rules, topics. Yeah, there's no one here. So in political debate, there is no one. Wait, are you eating something, Juan?
What's that?
Are you eating something?
I'm getting ready to make something to eat.
Oh, okay. I can hear you making something to eat. Anyway, I don't see anyone. I don't see anyone. Serious VC. All right. I don't know what he's talking about. Any other servers? Political debate. Is there a politics server? There's ask yourself. 1,200 online. Yeah, but there's nothing going on. I mean, there's no one actually debating right now. 1,200 maybe are connected, but there's no debate going on.
How many servers are you following right now?
You can see the list here. It's about, I guess, 10.
Okay, do you have to pay to join them?
No. But every day, maybe I should add more and more servers because there's just not enough action. You just have to keep visiting more and more servers to find more people to debate, and even then, you see, I mean, I'm on the servers. It's still basically impossible to find people to debate. I'm going to fail. We have a forum, find opponents, both formal and informal.
A slave.
Yeah.
Okay, another idea. If you wanna get back into the topic, would you be willing to find a different, game pickup community to talk to? Start fresh somewhere else with that section.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, I'm open-minded to being in touch with anyone.
Yeah. Okay, at least you're open-minded about it.
Yeah, of course. Let's read some more comments. So, Woody Johnson, what's up, Slave? And interesting ventures lurks. I don't know what that means. Interesting ventures. I'm recording this YouTube channel and relaying to the outer space Mars. Oh, okay. I don't know what that means. Anyway, I think we're done. I think our job here is done. I think it was a good. I think it was good. We had basically two discussions. One about the Spanish flu, where the guy Stefan agreed with me, basically, and that it was not the flu; it was just aspirin. And what about the formation of black holes? That there is no singularity, there is no need for quantum gravity, and everybody can go home and stop wasting money, basically. Ah, everything is nonsense. All right. Anything else you wanted to say, Skinny Juan, J Rock?
Yeah, noticed that you also you haven't been visiting the Hornmaxer's channel as much as before.
Because every time I wanted to visit, he already finished streaming. I'm thinking maybe at night I'm gonna stream a little earlier because I don't want to make noise. I might
Oh,
switch to 10 p.m. and maybe 10 a.m., 10 p.m. I don't know. Maybe we'll switch to 10. Maybe tonight we'll do it 10 p.m. I don't know. Is 10 p.m. better for you?
maybe a
Like
little bit, yeah, cause usually when I work is from in my time 11th and also are you talking about we're talking about your time or my time?
my time. But you know what? I gotta run to the bathroom, otherwise I'm gonna poop my pants. So maybe tonight I'll set it up for 10 p.m. We'll see how that goes.
We should 8 p.m. my time. So yeah, that should be good.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna go poop my pants now.
All
All
right,
right,
well,
Skinny Juan, last words.
no, that's it. Bye.
All right, man. Have a great day. Bye bye.